Hello and welcome back to Odds Now. It's time for our Euro 2024 semi-finals preview. We're nearly there. We're nearly at the end of this tournament. And the quarterfinals, I think it's fair to say, were a bit up and down. There were a bit of a grind in places. Those two games were very polarising. The first couple of pair of games, really enjoyed Spain, Germany, plenty of drama and chances. But the Portugal-France game was a little bit of a war of attrition, I think it's fair to say. And then England typically made us all sweat before bundling through on penalties, and the Netherlands and Turkey provided the kind of goal fest, entertainment fest that we expected. So, yeah, a mixed bag in the quarterfinals. It leaves us with an intriguing Final Four. The outright market has corrected itself now somewhat, and we have Spain as narrow favourites for glory, but they've got to get through France, who are the perennial tournament team of the last decade, aren't they? They just seem to know how to get things done. And a remarkable statistic coming into this, that France managed to make the semi-final without any of their players scoring from open play. Quite a ridiculous statistic, really. But it just give testament to their resolute defensive displays. They've been really tough in front of goal, tough to break down, and you do kind of feel like the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Dembele's look very lively as well. It's a matter of time before it clicks for them in forward areas. And Spain arguably taken the biggest scalp of anyone so far in getting rid of the tournament host Germany. They were beaten on the XG. They had to withstand long spells of pressure from Germany, who equalised very late. It kind of dominated extra time, but Spain, they've got that quality in their ranks. Dani Olmo producing another moment of magic. What a fantastic tournament he's had for them, and nodded home by Moreno as well in quite stunning fashion. They really showed a different side to them, I thought, Spain in that game. Showed the grit to dig in when things were going against them. They had to sacrifice a lot of possession to Germany, which is something we're not used to seeing Spain do in the last 10 or 12 years. But they did it. They found a way through. They're narrow favourites to beat France here, Brad, but it's unwise to write off France at any tournament, isn't it? It's a really intriguing semi-final, this.
Yeah, exactly, Matt. A lot of talk over here in England has been about the underperformance of Gareth Southgate's side, but I'm sure the same conversations are happening over there in France. The difference is that they do have that experience at the later stages of the tournament to go on and win it. As you said, they're in the semi-finals now. It's the third time in their last four tournaments that they've reached the semi-final stage, at least. And again, some more parallels with this England side is there's been talk about the poor form of many of England's star players. And I think the same is happening over there in France with the likes of Kylian Mbappe and also Antoine Griezmann. I think it's been the subject of discussion among the press ahead of this game as well. They haven't quite delivered yet on this stage. Of course, Kylian Mbappe has one goal to his name in this tournament. That was from open play. He is hampered, admittedly, by the broken nose he suffered in the first game against Austria. There were reports about him struggling with his sleep. Of course, he gets taken off during extra time against Portugal on Friday ahead of a potential penalty shootout, which I think says a lot about the way he has been struggling. But France, they were hotly tipped to be among the final four ahead of the tournament, but I don't think many people had Spain down to impress to the extent they have. They've certainly been the standout team of this tournament so far. They are one of the more established footballing nations, but I don't think anyone was talking about them as potential winners in Germany. But now, as you say, they are favourites. On the outright to win the entire thing, which is testament to the way they've performed under Luis de la Fuente. The 2 goals, they scored against Germany on Friday, now takes their total tournament haul to 11. I think that leaves them as a top scorer in the tournament so far. There's just a real fluidity about the Spain side. They all click. Like you've mentioned there, some names they maybe aren't the most glamorous of names, but Dani Olmo, he's had a great tournament. Rodri, of course, he's one of the best players in world football, has shone, and you've got the 2 wingers in Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal, who have also shone for Spain. And they have certainly got the momentum, heading into this one. Like you mentioned, that statistic there, France not scoring from open play, but I still don't know how to call this one just because of the experience of France. I remember in 2018 when they won the World Cup in Russia, they didn't play particularly well there. They ended up winning the World Cup. So I'm going to stay away from the result when picking my best bets for this one. I'll name my best bet now. Spain have averaged 20 shots across their 5 matches so far at the tournament. I think one of the better players for France has been Maignan in goal. And I expect him to be kept busy across this one. I'm going to have him with 3.5 or more shots. That comes in at 11 to 10 with Sky Bet. I just think he will be kept very, very busy by the Spain side, who will, of course, look to add, I think it's the 4th European Championship title if they win here. Of course, they won back-to-back Euros in 2008 and 2012, and they'll be looking to repeat that feat for a 4th time here in Germany. So that's going to be my best bet with Mike Maignan over 3.5 plus saves at 11 to 10. It's just too difficult a game to call to go anywhere near the result for me when I'm making any predictions here.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Brad. I've tried to get France right a couple of times in this tournament and failed to do so. So I'm not going to go into the match betting market myself. But like you, I've tried to have a look at some alternative lines, and I just keep coming back to the goal scorer market. And unfortunately, for all his struggles, Kylian Mbappe is the one that stands out to me. I just think he's too big in the anytime goal scorer market. He's 5 to 2. I can't remember the last time I saw Kylian Mbappe 5 to 2 to score a goal in a 90-minute game of football, to be honest. And I know that's with good reason. His form has been pretty below where we would expect it to be. The nose is clearly causing him discomfort. He came off after 110 minutes, as you referenced, but Deschamps was quick to play down any worries over him. He said he was just tired. 110 minutes was a good shift by anybody, and there was no point keeping him on the pitch if he was flagging a little bit. So that was, to me, with one eye towards the semi-final and maybe just trying to get as much rest into him as possible. Theoretically, with an injury like this, he should be getting better with every passing day. He should be getting used to wearing that mask and playing in that mask, which has got to be an unusual feeling for somebody when the first time they try it in that kind of apparatus. But now he's had quite a few minutes under his belt, and just frankly, I can't see him going throughout this game without getting a couple of decent chances. That electric turn of pace has still been present in every single France game, but whether it's been beating the fullback and squaring back across, or whether it's been him getting in behind, and yes, that finishing touch hasn't quite been there. But what I always think with Mbappe is the reason he's so short in these goal scorer markets is because you know he's going to generate the chances. It's just a matter of whether he puts them away. He's already up towards 3 XG for this tournament, despite only having 1 penalty to his name. So he could have quite easily had some more if he had his shooting boots on. And just for all the reasons I outlined, I think that 5 to 2 in the anytime market is more than fair for who is ultimately the world's best footballer on a going day. So that's the way I'm going to play that game. Mbappe had scored anytime at 5 to 2. If I had a gun to my head on who was going to progress, I would probably just give France the edge just for their tournament pedigree. But I definitely think Spain have been the more impressive side in this particular tournament. But we all know with tournament football, sometimes that can all go out the window, and experience in these situations can come to the fore. So I would probably lean towards France. Brad, if I was really, really pushing you, would it be Spain or France?
Probably France as well. Like you said, they've got to the semi-final stage without scoring a goal from open play. You've mentioned their pedigree as well. The manager's been there and done it. I think they've got maybe a better blend of youth and experience as well. The Spain side overall is quite young. So I probably would go France, but not with any real certainty, just because of everything we've seen so far. And Spain have been very, very impressive. But guns ahead, I probably would just edge it to France.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that one pans out tonight then. We're going to also look ahead to tomorrow's other semi-final, and this is the big one for us. Netherlands taking on England. England are still there fighting. They've done it the boring way, the hard way, the unattractive way, however you want to describe it. It hasn't been all that pretty, but they are in the Final Four. And I can assure you, if they lift the title, then in 20 years from now, nobody will remember that game against Switzerland. Nobody will remember that game against Slovakia. They'll just remember that they won the tournament. And they may remark that it wasn't the most attractive style of football, but frankly, in this country, we seem to be obsessed with winning a title. We haven't won since 1966. And I look back at the recent European Championship winners, Italy last time, Portugal before that. Neither of them played an attractive brand of football. Neither of them were particularly convincing. I think Portugal drew all of their group games and scraped through in third. Italy just seemed to bundle their way through. They were pretty poor in the final by all accounts, and just, benefited from an England team that maybe sat back and played the occasion a little bit too much. So you don't have to be a great team to win these tournaments. So England are still in there fighting. They've got as good a chance as any. now. It's 2 games away from glory. The Netherlands, meanwhile, they've had to do things the hard way as well at times, especially in their last game against Turkey, where they fell behind. And for long periods, I thought the Turks actually outplayed them and caused them a real headache. They were struggling to find a way through, but ultimately they kept going. They found their way back into the game through De Vrij, and yeah, it was once they got that equaliser, there was a bit of a sense of inevitability that they were going to go through and win it. Turkey looked a little bit spent out on their feet, but they gave a great account of themselves. And this Netherlands side, they have got goals in them. They're the tournament's second highest scorers behind Spain. So we know that they're going to provide on the goals front and the entertainment front. Complete polar opposite to England, really, who are just doing it by the barest of margins, beating Switzerland on penalties, beating Slovakia, having equalised in their last kick of normal time before doing them in extra time. So it hasn't been pretty, but that's where we're at. Netherlands, England, Brad. I've seen varying opinions for this one. Some people think Netherlands are going to just be the first. See, there's two lines of thought, I suppose. Some people are saying Netherlands are the first top-class team England have come up against. They're going to be found out. There's others saying that England are just doing it in their own way, in their own sort of quite negative, uninspiring way, and they'll do similar to this Dutch side. So how do you see it?
I don't think there's any doubt in that the Netherlands are the best side that we have faced so far. England, Netherlands, are a team that looks like they're building momentum. They weren't the most convincing in the group stage. Obviously, they finished third in their group. But I think in their last couple of games, particularly in the knockout games, they have shown signs of a team that's just slowly improving game by game. They're impressive against Romania. And of course, they come from behind against Turkey last time out. So you've got to give them credit for that. And you look at the individuals in their teams, look at all over the pitch, really. Virgil van Dijk, Stefan de Vrij, Nathan Ake, Dumfries. Further up the pitch, Memphis Depay, Cody, Gakpo, Xavi Simons. They've got quality in there which can certainly hurt this England team. And so what you will say, I think, is if England repeat the performances, there were improvements against Switzerland, but it was far from an inspiring performance still. If England repeat their performances, they're certainly going to be facing a side this time around who does have the capabilities of putting them away. But from an England perspective, look, they're in the semi-finals now. I've been, over the last couple of weeks, been one of those that have been complaining, saying, look, if they keep playing like this and they're going to get found out, they're going to get found out, but they haven't yet. So, and we're now at the stage now where the performances don't matter, just winning does. It's just a case of whether this current standard of performances that they've set is going to be enough to beat the likes of the Netherlands. And then if they were to get through, whether that'd be enough for them in the final. Obviously, we've got to deal with this game. First of all, it is a very tough one to pick. I think these two are the best two sides on that side, on this side of the draw. What's supposed to be the weaker side of the draw compared to what was a lopsided draw on the other side. England, they've been criticised a lot, particularly if you're not in England and you're watching this video over here. That it has been borderline vitriolic towards Gareth Southgate. Matt, I think that's something that you've echoed over the last couple of weeks when we've been doing these videos. There's been so much criticism, but ultimately they have shown heart, particularly in their last two games against Slovakia, of course, stealing it at the death, with a great a moment of magic from Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane next to winner, and then again Bukayo Saka comes up with a brilliant moment to almost immediately draw the game level against Switzerland, and then they get through on penalties. You've got to give them credit for that. I think if it was France that had won these games in that way in the last couple of games, I think people would be a lot more full of praise for them. But because England haven't yet done it at a tournament, and by done it, I mean winning it, I think those questions are still there, and whether those frailties will show in the latter stages. But again, I'm not gonna go anywhere near the match or predicting the result, just because I just, again, you just don't know. I think this one's very finely poised,
very, very wise. I think I'm going down a similar route.
Yeah,
these two semi-finals just toss a coin to me.
Yeah, I agree, and I think both of these sides, their strength. It's a strange situation because coming into this tournament, we were talking about England and the worries were about them at the back, but at the back they've been fine. It's going forward that they've struggled in midfield and then creating those chances. But if you were to lay this England squad out, you would still say their strength were in attacking areas. And Holland, rather contrastingly, I'd have said their strengths were probably at the back, but they have looked slightly susceptible at times. But going forward, it's where they've looked very, very good. Cody Gakpo has been inspiring for them. He's got 3 goals now. He will certainly be eyeing picking up that golden
Maybe should have had 4. Well, he thought he had 4, didn't he? He gave it as an own goal. That could cost him the golden boot,
yeah.
potentially.
He'll certainly be eyeing that. He's been brilliant on that left-hand side. I'm sure that'll impact Liverpool's decision where they play him next season, but we won't go into that. I'm going to go with both teams to score on this one. That comes in at 23-20 at Star Sports. I just think...
I think that's generous.
Yeah, I think
that's good.
You know, I think when you, like I said, I mentioned the strength of England going forward. Holland have been very good going forward as well. Again, I see this one being quite an open game because it's Gareth Southgate, but you know, there's a lot on the line for both of them. Like, I think they'll both be chasing this game. I don't think England, certainly, I don't think they'll be wanting this to go to extra time and penalties again. One, because of the risk that carries on the result, but also they've gone to extra time now 2 games in a row, and that's hardly ideal if you are looking for a place in the final. So yeah, I'm going to be going with both teams to score at 23-20. And another bet which did come up, I mentioned Gakpo. He is anytime goal scorer at 15-4, and we've mentioned the form of in this tournament. I think I picked him to score anytime against Romania a couple of games ago, in which he did. At 15-4, when you consider his form, I certainly think it is a generous price as well. So I'll certainly keep an eye on that one. So I'm going to go both teams to score 23-20 with Star Sports, and Cody Gakpo 15-4 generally as my best bets for this game. Sorry.
Yeah, like it. Gakpo got that extra motivation as well to pick up that personal accolade, as you reference. It certainly feels like the Dutch's most likeliest route to goal in this game, I think. For me, I'm going to play the corners line, which is quite an unusual one for me. But I was looking into this, and we talk about this resolute England defence and the way that they're defended. They're playing in a very pragmatic fashion, and I think it's definitely is a case of Gareth Southgate has identified the fact that his attack is extremely strong. His defence is a little bit suspect in terms of personnel, so he's overcompensated, put defence first, and just hoping for individual moments of brilliance from his attacking players, which has, to be fair, occurred in the last 2 games. Bellingham and Saka both coming up with great individual moments to get them back into games, having fallen behind. But I don't think we should expect to see a change in approach. For the majority of this game, England are going to try and keep it tight, not take too many risks with their passing out from the back, and they're going to defend very much man-to-man, try and keep a compact shape. And as a result, one thing that has been a consistent theme with this England side throughout the tournament is they haven't given up many corners. They're very, very fierce when it comes to keeping out the corners. And to be honest, the Netherlands have been so contrasting based on the caliber of opponent that they've faced. So that against the game where they ran riot against Romania, they absolutely racked up the corners. That chaotic game against Austria, they absolutely racked up the corners. But the 2 games of relevance for me here was when they played sort of classier opposition with higher jeopardy. So when they played that important group game against France, it was a 0-0, and they only managed to get 2 corners in that game. And then against Turkey in the last 16, the last 8, sorry, again, high jeopardy. They were under pressure for long periods against the Turks there. They only managed 3 corners again. England, meanwhile, have only given up 1 corner against Slovakia and 3 corners against Switzerland. One of them coming in extra time. So really it was 2 inside 90 minutes. So in the 180 minutes of normal time this England team have played in the knockout so far, they've given up just 3 corners. And Holland, like I say, when they come up against top-class opposition in a high-stakes match, they've not been having much success in that area. So I'm going to pick under 3.5 Netherlands corners, which is a very generous 17-10. And that's just for the patterns for both of these teams to keep repeating themselves, for it to be a low margin, low stakes, nervy affair once again, and for England to keep things as tight as they possibly can in defensive areas. So I'll bring our best bet up onto the screen at this point as well. So yeah, you can see them there. My best bet, a Kylian Mbappe to score anytime at 5-2 for France tonight, and then Netherlands under 3.5 corners, which is 17-10 at BoyleSports. You can get a little bit lower than that across the board, but you want to take that best price if you possibly can. And then Brad, you've gone for Netherlands, England, both teams to score. Cody Gakpo to score any time in that match. And in the France game, we've got Maignan to make over 3.5 saves. All odds against selections from both of us. So hopefully we can land a couple of them, and that'll have us in profit for across the semi-finals. Now, in a couple of days' time, we will be taking a look ahead to the final. We don't know who's going to be in it at this stage. And to be honest, I wouldn't be that surprised whatever pairing we end up with. But we've got 2 very intriguing semi-finals to enjoy first. Let us know who you're backing to come through these two games in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you've enjoyed these videos throughout, then please do give us a subscribe on OddsNow. We've got loads of general sporting preview content coming for you over the coming weeks and months. And give this video a thumb up and give us a comment as well to let us know what you'll be backing in these two games. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again very soon.